Girls who are teenagers.
19?
19 and younger.
I have some 19-year-old friends, but I don't like anybody illegal if that's what we're talking about, underage.
The rise and fall of R&B singer R. Kelly has been one of the most tumultuous in music history. From his meteoric rise in the 1990s to his fall from grace in the 2020s, Kelly has been in the spotlight and convicted of serious crimes, including 9 counts of racketeering and sex trafficking. Unfortunately, Kelly's career was also marked by numerous allegations of sexual abuse and misconduct, which began to surface in the 1990s. Over the following decades, the allegations continued to mount, leading to a criminal investigation in 2008. Kelly was acquitted of all charges in that case, but the allegations continued to haunt him. But there is more to just this story, which is more disturbing and shocking. R. Kelly's rise was meteoric, but his fall was disgraceful. At one time, Kelly was one of the most successful and popular singers and songwriters in R&B, but he became one of the most well-known examples of a celebrity using his power to take advantage of others, and as a result, he was convicted of 9 counts of racketeering and sex trafficking, and was sentenced to 30 years in prison because of it. R. Kelly's debut album with public announcement, Born into the 90s, was released in January 1992 and achieved platinum certification a year later. His sophomore album, 12 Play, launched Kelly into superstardom with popular singles such as Me and Bump and Grind. Following the news of his sentencing, people and R. Kelly's supporters have begun speculating about his activities and circumstances inside the jail. They are curious about what he is doing, his current pursuits, and why he is still concerned about the survival of his music career despite his incarceration.
Guys, I promise you we're going to straighten all of this stuff out. That's all I can say right now. I promise you.
And your fans?
I love my fans. Thank you guys for the order.
Robert Sylvester Kelly was born as the third of 4 children and was raised on the south side of Chicago by his single mother, Joanne, who worked as a school teacher and was a devout Baptist. Not much is known about his father, who was largely absent during his childhood. The family lived in different locations over the years, including in housing projects on 63rd Street, a small house at 40th and Martin Luther King Drive, and another small house at 107th and Parnell. Interestingly, Kelly revisited the latter location 25 years later, using it as the setting for the music video of his song, I Wish. Joanne and her mother did their utmost to care for the children, but they were joined at different times by other women who lived in the same house or nearby. Kelly recalls in his 2012 autobiography, Solar Coaster, The Diary of Me, that these additional figures included cousins, aunties, friends of my aunties, all older women. He wrote, "When my mother wasn't around, the women ran a little freer. As I crept up in age, I found myself more curious and sometimes aroused, and I was ashamed of being aroused." In his autobiography, Kelly writes that starting at the age of 8, he sometimes witnessed older men and women engaging in sexual activities. He also recalls an incident where he was given a Polaroid camera and instructed to photograph a couple having with his fascination lying more in the photographic technology than the act itself.
Anything that I've been through, that or any struggles I've had in my past has affected my music. It has,
Has it affected your behavior?
Kelly further reveals that at the age of 8, he was sexually assaulted by an older woman, and he was ordered to keep it a secret, adding that she did it repeatedly for years. Additionally, during his preteen years, he was approached inappropriately by an older man in his neighborhood. Friends and associates later informed the Chicago Sun-Times that Kelly had disclosed that he was sexually abused by this man. After rising to stardom, R. Kelly frequently shared with the press that he had been shot at the age of 13 when some individuals attempted to steal his Huffy bicycle. In his autobiography, Solar Coaster, he described the incident as a stray bullet that didn't result in the loss of his bike. However, a close associate of Kelly later informed the Chicago Sun-Times that Kelly's mother, Joanne, had revealed on her deathbed that Robert had fabricated the shooting story to conceal a suicide attempt. It has been reported that he still carries the bullet from that incident in his shoulder. As a troubled youth, R. Kelly enrolled in Hyde Park's renowned Kenwood Academy High School. Unfortunately, he did not graduate, and in later years, he openly admitted to struggling with reading and mathematics. However, his life took a turn when legendary music teacher Lena McLin recognized his talent. She convinced him to sing Stevie Wonder's 1982 hit Ribbon in the Sky at a high school talent show, where he discovered his true calling and ignited his passion for music. That night, it was like Spider-Man being bit. Kelly later tells Dave Hoekstra of the Sun-Times, "I discovered this power. I knew I had something then." R. Kelly's talent captures the interest of Wayne Williams, a Jive Records executive based in Chicago. Williams first hears Kelly sing at a backyard barbecue on the South Side. Kelly's passion for music had been a lifelong obsession, and he had begun sharing his talents with others by busking in the subway. R. Kelly signs with Jive Records a few years before the label rises to become one of the biggest in the world, housing stars like Britney Spears and NSYNC. During this period, the label decides to introduce him to fans as part of a vocal group named Public Announcement. This decision is influenced by the continued success of R&B acts like Boyz II Men, who were still prominent on the R&B charts at the time. R. Kelly's rise to stardom was indeed marked by controversy and legal issues. It all began when, at the age of 27, he married the 15-year-old singer Aaliyah in a secret ceremony in Chicago. Later, Vibe magazine uncovered that Aaliyah had lied about her age on the wedding certificate, falsely listing herself as 18. As a result of these revelations, the marriage was annulled in February 1995. During his trial, a former tour manager for Kelly testified that he had bribed a government worker in 1994 to obtain a fake ID for Aaliyah, allowing the two singers to marry. For the remainder of her career, Aaliyah consistently avoided addressing questions about the nature of her relationship with R. Kelly. "When people ask me, I tell them, hey, don't believe all that mess," she told one interviewer. "We're close, and people took it the wrong way." R. Kelly's marriage to Aaliyah was officially annulled in 1994 in Detroit. As part of the settlement, both singers signed agreements stipulating that neither will ever discuss the marriage or their relationship. The records related to this legal process in Wayne County Circuit Court were sealed, but the Chicago Sun-Times later managed to obtain a copy.
Right now I'm producing a very talented young lady. She's 14, Aaliyah. She's real street. She just be chilling, man.
The settlement between R. Kelly and Aaliyah included a nominal payment of $100 from Kelly to Aaliyah. As part of the agreement, Aaliyah committed not to pursue additional legal action related to emotional distress caused by any aspect of her business or personal relationship with Robert, or for physical injury or emotional pain and suffering arising from any assault or battery perpetrated by Robert against her person. Subsequently, in 1997, Aaliyah filed a motion to have the falsified marriage certificate expunged from Cook County court records.
You know about all the rumors about you being married and stuff like that. Was there any truth to that?
Man, you are so late.
R. Kelly seldom discussed Aaliyah. Her name is also notably absent from his autobiography, with an author's note explaining that certain episodes could not be included for complicated reasons. In a 2016 interview with GQ magazine, he described their relationship as best friends, but declined to comment on their marriage, saying, "I will never have that conversation with anyone, out of respect for Aaliyah and her mother and father, who have asked me not to personally." Kelly briefly mentioned Aaliyah's uncle and the manager who played a significant role in his rise to stardom, Barry Hankerson. However, he mainly referred to unnamed former associates in his autobiography, suggesting that some of them attempted to blackmail him or spread false stories aimed at damaging his career.
Two witnesses chose to lie, implicate this man, and drag him through this experience from 2019 until today.
However, years later, Aaliyah's mother tells the Sun-Times everything that went wrong in her life began then, with the relationship with Kelly. In 1996, R. Kelly married Andrea Lee, a choreographer and dancer from his stage show, who was affectionately nicknamed Puppy Dog within his inner circle. The couple went on to have 3 children together, with 2 daughters born in 1998 and 2000. And a son born in 2002. However, it was rare to see the couple photographed together in public.
People have no idea that there's 2 different men. That there's the person, Robert, there's the persona, R. Kelly.
Sources close to Kelly told the Chicago Sun-Times that Andrea was expected to knock before entering any room in their house when her husband was at home. In 2003, Andrea's mother, grandfather, and aunt expressed their concern to Sun-Times columnist Mary Mitchell, stating that they were upset because they were not allowed to visit her at Kelly's Olympia Fields residence, nor were they permitted to speak to her on the phone.
People have no idea of the bruises I'm hiding.
Then, in December 1996, Kelly was sued for $10 million by Chicago woman Tiffany Tia Hawkins, an aspiring singer who claimed she met the star when he came back to Kenwood Academy to see his old mentor, McLean. According to the lawsuit, Hawkins began having sex with Kelly in 1991, when she was 15 and he was 24. The relationship ended in December 1994 when she was 18, the court documents state. Distraught, she slit her wrists in an attempt to kill herself. The charges in the suit are not reported until years later in the first major investigative story by the Sun-Times.
And this is the reason why Robert being locked up right now is not really justice for me. It's because we all know Robert didn't do this alone.
Tiffany filed a lawsuit against R. Kelly, seeking compensation for the personal injuries and emotional distress she endured during her 3-year relationship with the star. She initially sought $10 million in damages, but ultimately settled for a lesser amount of $250,000 when the case was resolved in 1998. At that time, Kelly's spokeswoman stated that she had no knowledge of the accusations.
We all know Robert didn't do this alone. We all know Robert had help. Absolutely. So justice for me is not like laughing because this man is like, yeah, oh, he's locked up now.
After this, speaking to the Chicago Sun-Times several years later, a woman from Los Angeles revealed that she had met R. Kelly in 1999 during the video shoot for If I Could Turn Back the Hands of Time. At the time, she was 17 years old, and she maintains that she did not engage in a sexual relationship with the star until she turned 18 in 2000. She further stated that Kelly never disclosed that he was married, and their relationship encountered significant conflict as soon as she discovered this information. She expressed her belief that Kelly has a problem.
But the past is relevant with you with underage girls.
Absolutely no, it's not.
Why?
Because for one, I beat my case.
Moreover, former protege Stephanie Sparkle Edwards informed Derogatis that during this same period, the backstage area at R. Kelly's concerts frequently had underage girls present. He likes the babies, and that's the sickness, the assistant said. He can control her, and she don't know no better. On November 7, 2000, an anonymous fax was sent to the Chicago Sun-Times containing the following information. 1 minute, he's grabbing his privates and bragging of being like a real freak. The next, he's drawing on his gospel roots and once again paying homage to his dear departed mom on the lush and touching single, I Wish. The review triggered an anonymous fax sent to the newspaper, which reporters later verified as coming from an assistant of R. Kelly. The anonymous fax asserted that the Chicago Police Sex Crimes Unit had been conducting an investigation into R. Kelly for an extended period. It also furnished some previously undisclosed information regarding the Hawkins lawsuit.
This is what they're saying about you. These aren't old rumors.
Not true. Whether they're old rumors, new rumors,
why would they
future
say this
rumors,
about you?
Not true.
Following this tip, Sun-Times editors tasked Derogatis and reporter Abdon M. Palish with investigating the veracity of these claims. As they delved deeper into the story, they substantiated the existence of both the police investigation, which had been hindered by uncooperative witnesses, and the Hawkins lawsuit. Their reporting further unveiled additional details about R. Kelly's brief marriage to Aaliyah and his sexual relationships with other underage girls.
Is this camera on me?
Yes, it's on.
That's stupid. Use your common sense. Don't forget the blogs. Forget how you feel about me.
In December 2000, the Chicago Sun-Times released its first significant investigative report on R. Kelly, depicting him as a sexual predator who leveraged his celebrity status to pursue and engage in sexual relationships with girls as young as 15. The lead of the story read, Chicago singer and songwriter R. Kelly used his position of fame and influence as a pop superstar to meet girls as young as 15 and have sex with them, according to court records and interviews.
The stakes, too, are high. If convicted of sex crimes, Kelly could be looking at 15 years in prison and a swift end to one of the highest flying careers in music.
R. Kelly faced even more serious allegations when he was indicted on 21 counts related to making child pornography. Each of these counts was based on a specific act depicted on the tape that the Chicago Sun-Times had provided to the police in February. During a press conference, State's Attorney Dick Devine announced that the tape had been authenticated by the FBI crime lab in Quantico, Virginia, and experts there confirmed that it was not a forgery.
It's been 6 years since R. Kelly was indicted here in Chicago on 21 charges of child pornography.
Devine said, sexual predators are a scourge on society. This indictment should send a clear message that illicit acts with minor children will not be tolerated in the community. Hours after the indictment, R. Kelly was arrested at his vacation home in Florida. In Florida, he was also indicted on an additional 12 counts related to making child pornography. These new charges were based on images reportedly discovered in a camera confiscated by police during his arrest. The images were said to depict the star engaging in sexual acts with another underage girl. After a day, R. Kelly returned to Chicago, where he pleaded not guilty to the charges and posted bail with $750 bills. After leaving the courthouse, he attended a South Side church with his spiritual advisor, Reverend James Meeks, who was also a politician and a prominent figure in the Rainbow Push Coalition. Kelly sang at a kindergarten graduation ceremony during this time, which violated a court order instructing him to avoid contact with any children outside his immediate family.
Rumblings of he and girls not of age have been around for quite some time.
Now, most recently, the R&B star was sentenced to 30 years in prison for utilizing his superstar status to subject young fans, including some who were just children, to systematic sexual abuse. U.S. District Judge Ann Donnelly handed down the sentence after hearing testimonies from several survivors who described how R. Kelly's exploitation had a profound and lasting impact on their lives. One of Kelly's victims said, "You made me do things that broke my spirit. I literally wished I would die because of how low you made me feel," said one unnamed survivor, directly addressing Kelly, who kept his hands folded and his eyes downcast. Do you remember that? The jury in the Brooklyn Federal Court found R. Kelly guilty after learning that he had employed his team of managers and aides to locate and control girls, effectively running an operation that prosecutors deemed a criminal enterprise. Furthermore, the court stated that Kelly had utilized his fame, money, and popularity to systematically target children and young women for his own sexual satisfaction, as noted in a court filing by prosecutors earlier in the month.
But we do begin tonight with singer R. Kelly, sentenced to 30 years behind bars after his conviction on racketeering and sex trafficking charges.
During his incarceration, the disgraced R&B singer was put on suicide watch at the federal detention facility in Brooklyn, where he is detained. His legal team criticized this decision, labeling it as cruel and unconstitutional, particularly for individuals like Kelly who are not considered suicidal. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Brooklyn, however, filed court documents asserting that Kelly remained on suicide watch for his own safety, based on a psychological assessment.
Kelly says he was wrongly put on suicide watch following Wednesday's sentencing. The R&B singer claims officials at the Metropolitan Detention Center.
In the court filing, Assistant U.S. Attorney Melanie Speight acknowledged that R. Kelly's current life circumstances undoubtedly bring emotional distress. He is a convicted sex offender who has been sentenced to spend the next 3 decades in prison, she added. In the immediate future, he faces another federal criminal trial in Chicago for charges related to child pornography. Then, Kelly's attorney, Jennifer Bonjan, filed a lawsuit alleging that prison officials placed him on suicide watch at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center solely for punitive purposes and because of his status as a high-profile inmate. She also stated that Kelly has not expressed any thoughts of harming himself.
Singer R. Kelly is suing the Brooklyn jail where he was being held since his racketeering and sex crimes conviction.
During his time in jail, he has been going through his career downfall too. A mysterious R. Kelly album titled I Admit It briefly appeared on Spotify and Apple Music before being swiftly deleted. The 13-track album surfaced while the disgraced R&B artist was serving a 30-year prison sentence for charges related to sexual misconduct. Although Legacy Recordings, Sony Music's catalog division, was credited on the album, Sony representatives clarified that the album was a bootleg release. A representative for Spotify told Variety, "This content has been removed from the platform at the request of the distributor." R. Kelly's attorney informed the publication that the singer's team was not responsible for the release of the album and that he is having intellectual property stolen from him. R. Kelly was also dropped by Sony following the release of the famous 2019 documentary series Surviving R. Kelly, which brought extensive attention to the numerous sexual abuse allegations against the singer.
You know, they began with his life, his journey,
and his own sex abuse life that he lived through.
Yes, they even played the clip of him talking about his own experiences.
Not only this, R. Kelly's former manager, Donald Russell, also received a 1-year prison sentence for making a shooting threat hoax to prevent the screening of a documentary about the disgraced star. In December 2018, Russell called a Manhattan theater with a shooting threat, which led to the cancellation of the screening of Lifetime's Surviving R. Kelly. a documentary that explored the sexual assault allegations against Kelly.
R. Kelly's one-time manager will spend a year in federal prison for calling in a threat at a theater that was screening a documentary about the disgraced R&B singer.
Donald Russell, who was also convicted of other crimes related to helping R. Kelly covered up accusations, acknowledged that he had made bad judgments, but asserted that he is not a horrible person. U.S. District Judge Paul Gardef said Russell had taken part in a misguided attempt to protect someone who was a prolific abuser. On December 4, 2018, Donnell Russell called the theater and falsely claimed that someone at the event had a gun and intended to shoot the venue. As a result, the venue, where some of R. Kelly's accusers, who were scheduled to speak at a panel discussion, were evacuated. Russell said at the sentencing, "I was happy that it ended. I didn't question how it ended." The public has also kept its keen eye on Kelly's life, and that's how he became a disgraced singer with no traces of any good he has done in his career. So, what do you think about all this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're into this kind of content, hit those boxes on your screen for more. Thanks for watching, folks.